Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. Welcome to Munira's Musings. We have a new guest on Valentine's Day today, Dr. June Paul. How are you?
Very well. How are you? Happy B-Day. Happy Love Day.
Love Day. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here on Valentine's Day. So, folks, you know that this is a show that we showcase a person who's found their niche, somebody who loves what they are doing, and we want to hear their story. If you are one of those people, we want you to be on our show. Just go ahead and message me and show up, and let's have some fun together. We have a good lineup in February, and Dr. June is here on Valentine's Day. So welcome, Dr. June. Thank you so much.
You.
Tell us tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're calling in from.
I am in sunny Florida, even though anything under 54 degrees is cold in Florida, and it's in the 40s. So it's not totally sunny Florida, but I'm kind of in sunny Florida. And I am a speaker and an advice columnist. And, that's I wouldn't say it's odd. A lot of people some people say, what's an advice columnist? What do you do? People send in questions and we answer it, and they publish them in the newspaper. And so that is a part of what I do. I'm a speaker. I'm a life skills counselor and relationship coach.
So kind of like Judy, Dear Judy or Dear June, they used to have in that column. Is that you?
Yes. So, the young people may not have heard of like Dear Abby and Landers, those individuals long time ago. So I am kind of like the modern one, and all of us were in the newspaper together. I started out when they were still in the newspaper, actually. And yeah, people send in questions, and they'll say, hey, you know what? Should I break up with this person? Or should I go to college? Or should I move out of my home? Whatever the question is, they give their scenario and they ask the questions, and we answer it, and they publish it in different news. My column goes out to about 400 newspapers.
Wow, that's awesome. So go ahead, tell us what you do. I mean, that's just part of what you do, but I want to know the whole thing. Like you said, you help people transform their lives, also life skills coach.
Yes. Well, and relationship coach. And it's basically, we have a network. We call it the Aptatious Positivity Network, because we're all about positive and positive thinking. So if you are feeling down, we try to help you find a way to feel better. And we always say there's something good going on, even when there's something not good going on. You might feel like, oh my God, this is a bad day. But if you take a moment and think, okay, there is something good that has happened this day, whether or not, you had clothes to wear or a roof over your head or whatever it is. But we always try to help individuals remember, hey, there's still something good going on, even though you're having not the greatest day.
I love that. I love that, because not everybody sees it through the silver lining, right?
Right.
And so how does that change? I mean, how do you make that change of, okay, I'm having a crappy day, but where's the silver lining? What kind of lens does a person put on?
Well, this is my saying. There may not be sunshine every day, but you can find a sunshine in your day. So you might have a crappy day. You might have stubbed your toe, but did you break your toe? No, you only stubbed it and you had a little pain, and it's only going to be temporary. So this is how we encourage people to look at what's happening. Oh, you had a fender bender. but your car was not totaled. You were able to walk away. You're still living and you have insurance. So, these are things, a lot of times I get some people's nerves, even my own husband, because I'm like, you know what, it's okay. Things are, there's other things that are still going good. But that is what we say, you have to find out, you have to remember that there's something positive in
So
spite
let me
of.
ask you this. I've known you in a short while. I've got to know you, and you are this infectious burst of energy and smiles and laughter. And you put that positive spin in everything. Does your husband hate it sometimes? Does he get mad at you? Why are you always so happy?
Yeah, it gets on his, not that I'm always happy, but it gets on his nerves if something happens and I put a positive spin on it. He likes my happiness. That was one of the things that attracted him to me. In fact, may I tell you a little quick story that
Please.
I was happy when we got together, everything. My mom actually, she had me several years after she had my other siblings. So I was like the surprise baby or whatever. And she didn't want me to be unhappy. So my siblings said that she laughed a lot and everything so that I could be a happy baby, happy person. So anyway, that's kind of how I was. But then I got sick and different things started happening and I wasn't. And he was like, who is she? Why is she not, her normal self? And so anyway, I had surgery. I got better. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going through that pity party, darkness, sadness again. He says I don't do it well anyway. He says, some people, they do depression well. He says I don't do unhappiness well. I don't know what that means. But anyway, he says I don't do sadness well. But nonetheless, I went back to that and I said, I'm not going to go back to darkness. I'm going to continue this trek of happiness. So it's, he loves that I'm happy most of the time because, there are things, sadness in life. There's things that, I cry about. There are things that, happen that you can't always be happy. That's abnormal. However, it does get on his nerves. Yes. Like the other day he did hurt his toe and I was like, is it broken? He's like, no. I said, do we need to go to the hospital? I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, we're good.
I know exactly where he's coming from. And I know that people like you sometimes can get too energized. And, it sometimes gets on people's nerves because I used to be like that a lot. And I used to have people, why? There were people who would come to my pharmacy where I worked and they would say, hey, I want to be on what she's on. Right?
That's because you have the loveliest personality. They want that. You have the loveliest personality.
And then there are some people who are like, what makes you happy all the time? Can't you just be sad? And you don't know what background I have. So don't worry about that because you don't want to know. But,
Exactly.
That's another story for another day. So let's talk about your journey, right? So you are an educator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you an educator? Yes, you are.
Well, I actually used to be an associate professor of psychology. So I don't teach full time anymore. I do, my writing, my coaching, counseling now full time. But yes, my degree is in education. I have a degree in mental health counseling and in education. And I was an associate professor. So I still teach part time. Sometimes, teach a class at the college. Yeah.
Awesome. So were you always, was that your path to be a teacher, to be an educator? And then you became a professor.
It was, let me tell you something. That's the reason, honestly, that I went into, my education that I did so that I could be like a director or dean or something. And I started that trek, but it wasn't for me. I feel that I am a really good teacher. I think that I work well with students. And so then I kind of expanded that when I started this positivity track and the Accentuate Positive Thinking Network, that I needed to expand that. And so I wanted to help other people, not just the students, grow. And there are people that are more mature in age than students that need that help, that need that positivity, that are having relationship issues. And so, it's interesting that I thought that when I started this relationship coaching and counseling, that I would be working with newlyweds. But I find that most of my clients are mature in age and they're, trying to get their relationship back on track. So I I felt that my education, my teaching needed to be expanded. So that's why I do workshops. Like every other month, I do a workshop through the Positivity Network, and we have an annual event. So I still am an educator, just not in the traditional sense of the classroom anymore.
Okay. So do you then work with couples one-on-one?
I do work with couples one-on-one, and I do have like the network where we have groups. It's not just couples, just anybody can come, young, old, married, single, whatever. And we talk about just different things such as stress reduction. Our first event this year was on 2022, a nice new view. What's your vision for 2022? What's your view for 2022? So we talked about that, how to start this year, because, the past couple of years has kind of been stressful. So how are you starting? What's your view on keeping this year from being stressed, starting anew in 2022 and moving forward to reduce the stress, to be happy, to set goals, to have your vision board put together and to move forward. And so that's one of the things that we do. We're going to have another one on spring cleaning. We clean out our closets during the spring. Well, some people do, I don't know. Spring cleaning, people clean out and they throw away things. So we're going to have an event or workshop on spring cleaning, emotional spring cleaning, removing the who and what out of your life that is not keeping you mentally and emotionally healthy.
That's awesome.
So those are the type of trainings that I do.
Awesome. I mean, who thought, right? I thought you were an educator. I didn't know you did so many other things, right?
Well, I am.
But you are, yeah. But, I thought in the more traditional way of having, being a professor and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is education, don't get me wrong. But here you are helping one piece at a time, each couple, each relationship, each
group of people, young, old, married, single. Yeah, just to get together. And I loved being a professor. I really did. I might, who knows, in a few years go back to that. Did you know that actually being a college professor is in the top 10% of less stressful jobs? I didn't know that until I started. I was like,
I
really?
didn't know that either.
I looked it up. Someone told me that. I'm like, really? I'll tell you how it happened. I actually was teaching in the public school system. I actually taught every level, elementary, middle, and high school, believe it or not, for 10-year span in the public school system. And so my husband worked in college. And so then I was switching, something happened and I was asked to teach a class in college. He says, you know what, you're going to love it. You're going to want to do college. And he was right. And then that's when I heard that that's one of the top 10%. And I looked it up and it is, it shows that it's in the top 10%. And so the reason that is because students, most of them, over 90% of the students, when they come to college, they want to be there. So the professors don't have that stress of fighting with the students like they do in the public schools where their parents are making them come and half of them don't want to learn or do anything. In college, the students are there because they want to be there and they want to learn. And it's like not as stressful. So that is true. It really is. And they, you have the time off, like for the winter break and the spring break. And so these are things that you have time to refresh and get back to the classroom and not be overwhelmed. So, it really is a good job.
Wow. I didn't know that. So we have to look into those things.
Yes.
But, when you say you're helping relationships get together and you write these columns, and of course it's all about relationships, and it's not only with people, it could be a pet, it could be a home, and people have relationships. I know because my late husband had a relationship with his home, and he was just so adamant about leaving it right at one point, but people tend to keep that close to them. It's a very, like you said, clean out your closet. It's a relationship with clothes. I have a friend who has closets full of clothes that don't even fit her, but she has a relationship with them, right? But that's just, and I don't think it's a mental problem. I think she likes something and she's able to get it, so she does, right? So
it's sentimental.
Right. So what do you tell people? I mean, is this a good, healthy relationship to have? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it depends on the couple. And most of, like when I do couples, you have to find out what's specifically happening between them. So it's not just a general conversation or general advice. So if you are keeping it close, you want to keep them close, the two of you close together, or if sometimes you need to have some time apart. So it just depends on the relationship. And when I do groups of people, whether they're married, single, young, old, or whatever, then that is more general information on how to just have relationships with people and how to treat people with kindness and treat them how you want to be treated. So that can work both ways in the couples and in my general conferences. So some advice that I give is this: you need to write down what is the negative that's happening in your life or in your relationship and kind of look at that. If necessary, throw it away and then write down the positives and go and pull out a positive on what you need to do to bring it to that positive relationship again. So those are some tips that's like one of the tips that I sometimes give.
Okay. And is it easy to do?
I think
Throw
that it depends on the person. It depends on how long you've been stressed. It depends on, how long you have allowed these things to bring you down. If it hasn't been that long and you're just now getting into whatever the problem is, then it's a lot easier. But if it's been years and years that you've been going through things, then it makes it more difficult to do. Yeah. So you were saying about your friend, you're like, what would I tell her if she's keeping her clothes? Is that where you're asking me if she keeps it too much of her clothes or she doesn't want to let
Yeah, I
go?
mean, there's some people who are attached to stuff, right? They just don't
Yes.
want to get rid of stuff, and then, oh no, like
Yeah.
I've talked to several people in the past few years, and when you started talking about spring cleaning, that came to mind. In the last few years, I never have had a standing. It's like I've never just put down my roots. I've moved and moved. And in when I married my last husband, right, my late husband, what happened was I got my stuff taken care of, and then I came in with a little bit of stuff and then his stuff, and then it all just got mingled, right? And then we had to move, and in moving we gave away stuff, we donated stuff, we sold stuff, we still had stuff. We threw away stuff, we still had stuff.
Did
But
he
then
like to move or did you not like? Did he like to move too or only you like to move?
well, the last move I made was in 2 years ago when we moved from a 5-story home to a 2-bedroom
Oh,
condo.
okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
the move before that was when I married him 10 years ago, and I said, I'm just gonna come from Dallas and move here with you. And so that was it. But this move, this last the 2-year move, was just us downsizing because his knee was bad, he's had health issues. So we decided we'll just go into a 2-bedroom condo, which is one space, no stairs, we have a lift, an elevator, and everything is, life is good that way. So there was a lot of stuff, right? But there were things that I would put away in a throwaway pile, and then I would see them in the safe pile. Throw away in the throwaway pile and see them in the. And so I think sometimes I just feel, I've done that with my first husband too, is like they have this habit of being hoarders. And I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the women, but I think men too, but they have a certain relationship with stuff, right? Just let it go, right? You can go rent stuff or buy stuff if you need it. But the minute I throw it away, I'm going to need it. But if you don't throw away, you'll never need it. So, it's a catch-22. So
But
what
you
do you
know
tell
what? Normally there's a story behind it too. It's like, why do you want to keep this? Then they can tell you a whole story on why they want to keep it and what it's about. So that is also a part of the problem. It's like, you know what? This means something when, it doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but it might mean something to them. I don't know. But you
Or
know
you
what
tell,
happens? If
yeah.
you put it away and they don't see it, see, it was in a spot where they can see. But if you put it and they don't see it, then they won't miss it. because it's like they can't see it and they'll forget about it. That's a secret.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody knows now. But yeah, that's what
This
you
is
do.
fun. Thank you. No, but so I mean, it's not just me. There's some people like I have another friend who'll just go buy crockery and she loves crockery. And I say, but you need to get rid of one set so you have another. And she goes, if I die, they can just give it to Goodwill. My kids don't want it. They can give it to Goodwill. But why do you want your kids to clean out? Why don't you just do it yourself? No, I like my stuff. So I'm
They
like,
need
okay.
their stuff. It's important to them.
Right. And so I mean, I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem. But I at this point, when I look at people and I see them hoarding stuff, I'm thinking, why? But it's
Well,
okay.
there is actually, a reason that they talk about. People have different reasons for hoarding stuff. Maybe they didn't have a lot when they were growing up, so they hoard it. But I don't think that in this situation, like with your late husband or your friend, not necessarily hoarding, because these are just things that they really like, and so they keep them and they want them. But hoarding is when you can't even walk through your house because there's so much stuff.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is more like hoarding. That for your people is just a love for whatever it is that they have.
Yeah. I mean, they'll take it away, they'll have stuff. And then, like I have a friend
Yeah.
who has shoes, right? And she goes, I just like shoes. And she'll buy shoes that are 3 sizes small because she
Oh my
likes them.
goodness.
She'll never
Now
wear
that's
them, but
something
she just
special.
likes them. And I'm like, why? But no, I just like them.
No.
You don't know. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I
That is
don't.
something special. And I've heard people say this, just like they're so cute. I just want to see them. And I'm like, I love shoes too. I'm a shoe person, but I need to wear them. They need to have a purpose. I don't want to just look at them. So yeah, there's people that I don't know. There's something special going on. I don't know much about the hoarding, but there is something with that where, that psychologists study that.
Yeah, I
Hoarders.
mean, so that's the thing, is like stuff and relationships. When we talk about
Yeah.
relationships, they have this relationships with people and things, and like and I'm not the best person, because I'm going to show you this. I have this is a drive,
Is that a
right?
jump drive?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a jump drive. It doesn't work. But he's just sitting here. But I've never taken the time to take this and put it in the dustbin, right? I just don't do it. It's just a blue thing that's sitting on my desk. And my son comes over and he goes, why it's still here? Why it doesn't work? Why is it still here? And it's like, it's just here. But then when I go to a cleaning spree, I just clean it out, but it's just sitting here.
Right.
Because this was hidden, like you said, this was hidden, but I never. And I don't know, he moved my monitors to do something and he saw it, and now it's here right in my face, and he keeps telling me, and I was like, if you knew it doesn't work, why didn't you throw it away?
Because it's yours. He didn't want to touch it. But you know what? That's how spring cleaning came about. People have stuff and then they go through and they're like, why do I have this? I don't need this. Maybe somebody else can use this. And then they get rid of it. And that's what emotional spring cleaning is too. What are you hoarding in your mind that you don't need? What people are you holding on to that you don't need? So when you do emotional spring cleaning, then you get rid of all that negative stuff so you can start fresh and refill your mind with something good and positive. Get rid of
So
that other stuff that doesn't work, like your jump drive. Get rid of that stuff in your mind that doesn't work and throw it away.
okay, so why is then in spring cleaning done only one in spring, and 1 and 2, and why is it important that you do that?
I don't know why it was chosen spring. That's a very good question. I don't know. I might look that up after we finish talking. So, but I don't know why it was chosen in the spring. Maybe after the holidays, because people get a lot of new stuff and then they want to, in the spring, get rid of their old stuff. I don't know. But it's important because to spring clean your mind, as I mentioned, because a lot of times we keep a lot of negativity in our mind and we hold on to a lot of things that's not good for us mentally. When we're stressed mentally and emotionally, then that impacts our physical health. So that makes us sick. So it's important to get rid of all of that negative stuff and maybe not read, but add to our mind things that are positive that's going to help us grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and all in a positive way, rather than weighing ourselves down with things that are not good for us. So that's important. Yeah, because you can get sick. You know, when you're stressed, your immune system goes down, you can't sleep, and sleep impairment messes with the brain, causing degenerative brain disorders. So all of these things are important. So you need to get rid of the negative and the stressful things in your life so that you can have more positives in your life to keep yourself physically and mentally healthy.
And that's important.
That's very
to
important.
then maintain healthy relationships, right? So
Exactly.
everything is a stepping stone.
Right.
Everything is a
Right.
stepping stone. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. This has been so amazingly fun. But okay, so Dr. June, when is your spring cleaning workshop coming up? Where is it going to be?
It's going to be online. So, everything is on my website, drjunehall.com. Look, I don't even know my website. How bad is that? Everything is on my website, drjunehall.com. And we have the different list of events that occur. And we have, like our big event in the summer. So it's just like a fun thing that we do. We have lots of fun, even though it's on Zoom, but the big event is going to be face-to-face because, things were shut down for a while. But even though we have it on Zoom, we make it fun. We bring props. We have breakout rooms. We play games. Last time when we talked about a new view, I brought what was it, like a stuffed animal, a nutcracker that's like a teacher, and I had the teacher stick out and I was waving at them and said, "Teacher says this is what are you supposed to do?" And I made them answer questions like they're in the classroom. So we just do a lot of fun and silly things, even though it's on Zoom, just to make it interesting. And so we just that will be in March.
But silly and laughter is
very important.
Entices the brain, right, to do something.
Yes.
It's just so much fun. But where do people
laughter helps the neurotransmitters too? The happy neurotransmitters. That's what laughter does. And here's a little secret for people who don't like to exercise a lot. Laughter exercises your stomach. It helps your stomach muscles.
Oh, nice. Right. So you need to find a joker all the time. Okay. Comedy, here I come. So where can people find you, Dr. June?
Just go to Dr. June, DrJunehall.com, and you'll be able to find me. And let me know what it is I can help you.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Course.
Yes.
And you're on all other platforms, Instagram and Facebook and...
I'm on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Yes.
Oh, perfect. So there you go, folks. This has been a fun episode where we talked about relationships with things and people and how being happy can help your neurotransmitters, and then spring cleaning the negativity to then create positivity in your life. So you have to get rid of the old stuff. And if you want to learn how, go to drjunehall.com and you'll get all of the information there. And we'll see what happens next, right?
That's right. We're going to move on to happiness.
And if you are interested in being a guest, please go ahead, let us know. And also, if you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, we'd love you for that too. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.